right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited that we're here with Rosie and Nick. And I really wanted to have this event for my cartomancy friends because I have published 5 Lenormand decks since COVID. And I got my first one on Deckible last month. So that's exciting. You're going to see it tonight. And I have a few to give away. It's my Halloween deck. And I know that just during all my years of practicing, cartomancy, that I had the desire to make my own deck. So it was really cathartic, and I thought I would love to share kind of what I did. And I was at the point where I had some ideas and some art, and then Rosie helped me get it fully formed. She's just so nice and so pragmatic, and she really knows her stuff, and she's motivating, but she's also kind and non-judgmental. So she's just wonderful, and we've become friends over the years. So I just love. She just keeps evolving. So this is another evolution that I love. So, and if you feel comfortable too, I'd love if you put in the chat what motivated you to be here. It's optional, of course, but like I said, I had such a fun journey, and my journey is still evolving too, that I really just wanted to share it with my friends. And I definitely encourage you to get your own deck out there, even if it is just to imprint your own personal symbolism on a deck. And please feel free to reach out to me anytime you want to know. But I was telling Rosie and Nick in the beginning that I just got my deck on Deckible less than a month ago. But I try and pull cards every day. But I work and I have to be there early, and I don't always get to do my pull. So I've been doing it on the phone, which is awesome. So if I miss my physical pull, I do the virtual pull. So with that, I'm gonna give it over to you, Rosie.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, oh my God, like we met, it was right when yeah, right. You were like one of the first people to come through my program.
Probably it was
And
probably the beginning of COVID, right?
yes, it was. It absolutely was. But yeah, so just a real quick about me that I started making cards 15 years ago. And so I started making them for myself and then making them for other people. And then I created courses and programs, right before COVID. And I've had hundreds of women, men come through and make card decks on all different subjects. So it's really super cool. But when I heard about Deckible 2 years ago, I was like, well, how's this going to work? Because, I like to feel the cards and stuff. So I'm like, how's this going to work? So then the more I learned about Deckible, the more like Brenda, I was like, holy crap, this is so darn good. And this is like, so I want you to think, because you're probably saying, well, what's the big deal about a digital deck? But think about this. Like, think about Audible, like your favorite books you have on Audible and Kindle, right? So your favorite deck on Deckible, it makes sense. Like you run out of the house, you forget everything, but you do not forget ever your phone, right? If you do, you go back for it. So, you have both. And that way you reach all your people's needs. And you're going to also see, and I want you to pay really close attention to Brenda's deck, because we had a strategy about this, and she was able to add an audio component, which you're going to see, to her cards, which make it a teaching deck. So she can, as you're pulling, you hear her voice, and then you're learning like the symbolism and what the icons mean and all of that. So you're actually now training and teaching people. So this is like a whole new level of like amazing, a whole new level of amazing stuff, right? So we're going to raffle off some decks. We're going to really try and keep this to an hour. Again, I met Nick 2 years ago, and at first he was like, yeah, the whole idea was going to get 100 decks. And now there's almost 1,000 decks on there. And it is just evolving in the most really magnificent way. So Nick is like, I'll say, a creative genius, off the charts, like with this imagination. brilliant ideas that he actually turns into like tangible things. So he's the founder of this premier marketplace for card decks. And it really is. There is nothing else out there like that, because in all the years that I've seen some apps and I'm like, okay, cool. It's just, well, it's just whatever. It's like a PDF. This is you're shuffle. Like there's so much that we can't even show you all of it in an hour. So I do want to say, I am a card deck creator. I teach other people how to create cards. So when you're finished with this, you're totally going to be able to go up there and put your deck on Deckible. And if you're the type of person that wants guidance, the support, the accountability, the community, the strategy, then there's an opportunity to work with me the way Brenda did and come out with your deck. And I will tell you that the people, we always have good intentions, right? But it's funny that, people, when they come into the program, they're like, oh my God, I would never have got it done because, like, I'm not that nice, really. Brenda says I'm nice, but I'm not that nice when you're not showing up and giving your gift. So I do get people there because, I don't let you get away with like the crap that we all try and get away with, right? When we're creating something amazing and we get stuck in our own way. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Nick so that, well, actually, you know what, Nick, should I show? We'll stop somewhere along the
Yeah,
way and
start
show.
with, yeah, totally,
Okay.
totally.
So I don't know how many of you have seen Brenda's deck in her beautiful tins, and she has all of them on Etsy. And so this is the other thing. So she came to me to make one card deck, and then I haven't seen her. I mean, we talk, but I haven't really seen her, and she's made 6 other decks. So once then right? So here's her deck. Right, this is my big iPad, but just pretend it's the phone. I'm just using this so I can show you. But we're going to just draw one card just so you can see what happens.
Card number 28 is the man. It is a neutral card. The man signifies any man in your life, or simply the embodiment of masculine qualities. Vincent Price, Jack Skellington, and Gomez Adams all come to mind.
So now, if every time you go and you pull a card,
28 is the man,
and you learn that,
you learn
things, right? How amazing. And you can do, it keeps a timeline here, and we'll show you more about that. But, if I wanted to.
You flip it. If you flip it one more time, there's meanings on it too. 24 is the heart.
Sorry. See, so I didn't do it correctly.
So it's 3 sides. You can put 3 sides on the deck here.
That's right. Okay.
The clouds. Card number 6 is a negative card. As Edgar Allan Poe said, never to suffer would never to have been blessed. The clouds can bring doubt, negativity, uncertainty, sadness, depression, and confusion. But as Emily Bronte said,
is that cool?
Clouds.
I mean, just think about that. She has just created an educational teaching deck. Because you go in there and you're like, okay, you do this every day. You are actually learning stuff. So it doesn't matter what you're teaching. This creates a course for people. And there's so many more things. There's video that can be done. There's a lot of things. And again, we're going to show you as much as we can tonight for you to get, you will be really excited, because who doesn't love this? Put in the chat. Isn't this Michelle is I love this. Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you can make your own spreads, because we all like to make our own spreads. So when you make your own spreads, I don't think they don't have any sound, so you can just read, right?
Yes, so you can there's different spreads you can have, right? So you can make your own. Brenda has a whole bunch of choices here of options, so you can use it.
Who does mixed readings, by show of hands? Mixed deck readings? Yeah. So if I get time, I'll demonstrate how to do a mixed deck reading.
I'm going to hand this over to you, Mr. Nick.
You can have, as many decks as you want on your phone, and then on the fly, anywhere you are, you can just go, okay, I'm going to pick a card from this deck and a card from this deck and a card from this deck. And you've got them all there to play with and engage with. And it's just amazing potential. It depends how everyone uses cards differently. This is what's fascinating to me. some people just use them as journal prompts. Well, there's just so many ways of using cards, but it's all there. And mixed deck readings is so fun. I always laugh when people say to me about Deckible. It's like, oh well, I just don't think an app's for me because I love the tactile nature of card decks. I'm like, you haven't used Deckible, have you? Because if you had, you would realize Deckible's more, you can't pinch and zoom cards in the real world because a card is a physical shape. It can't be sized. Whereas you saw Rosie doing that. And so you can actually say this card's more important to me right now. This is less important. So it
It's the
helps you make
shuffling. Look at them. They shuffle. It's so cool. Yeah.
Okay, let me I'll just dive in and start.
Dive in. Yeah.
Let's do my stuff. So and it's
Can everybody
fascinating.
see it in big view? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna just share screen. Make sure I'm sharing sound in case I do that. Okay.
Yep, looks good.
So basically, what's fascinating to me, because I kind of fell into the card deck space. I'm a big board gamer, so I have lots of decks, cardboard around all the time, right? And I really discovered just how many types of card decks there were. And this was fascinating to me. And I discovered, your typical tarot oracle type person maybe owns 10, 20, 50, or 100 decks. And then I discovered there's also these people in the business space that use decks for facilitation and coaching, and they own just as many decks. And I was like, that was when I realized you just can't carry those around, right? And so having them on the phone just makes sense. And then you've seen them on Rosie's tablet there. It looks amazing. But yeah, decks basically solve problems for people. Whether you go to have a tarot reading, you go and ask a question, or use decks to make choices. That's the kind of generic thing that hooks everything together. And I don't think everyone's really thought of that, because everyone uses tarot or whatever cards they use for whatever reason they use them for, and they've not thought about what that is. But given we've created a platform to do this, I've thought about card decks quite a lot. So I'm sure you can imagine. The cool thing to me is there's 7 reasons why decks are trending right now. Tarot is the biggest meme of all time. Like a meme is where just someone takes someone else's idea and you kind of copy it and tweak it and make it your own. Well, every tarot deck is basically the same deck followed to a set of rules invented by hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people by now, right? So it's a meme. And it's been going on since 14, 15, whatever time it started, 1400s, I think. And also I think it's an affordable set of art. Art is expensive, but a card deck isn't. So you can have art that you love in your pocket, on your phone, wherever. And mental wellness has obviously gone crazy in the COVID era, as we now all talk about it. But there's a big part of cards is journaling, reflecting, self-care, self-growth. And so that's a big part of it. We see decks as a medium. And we've all driven to shorter and shorter attention spans. So people don't complete books anymore. People don't make it through a book. Whereas a deck, they do make it through as a learning tool. And we just think it's that perfect, playful, tactile. Whenever you pull out a card deck, you think fun. You don't think tax forms or the drudge of filling something in. You think you have fun associations, and you may not know it, but people like Oprah and Esther Perel, that I don't know if you know Esther Perel, but she's like the top sex therapist, has an amazing TED talk. Stephen Bartlett is like a Dragon's Den, a Shark Tank guy in the UK. All these people have produced decks, so people have seen the deck trend. And it's become super easy now with Canva to design it, print on demand platforms, Kickstarter, Midjourney, AI, and there's just this community of people, of readers and creators. And but essentially, I think I had this thought one day is that we're all in the moving business together. Everyone that does card decks is about moving people, not stuff. We're moving people, we're moving people's emotions, we're moving people's beliefs, and we're moving people's thoughts. And I always talk to people who don't use card decks, especially a lot of male friends who look at me blankly when I tell them about card decks. And I say, everyone should have an emotions deck, because fine is not an emotion. How you doing? Fine. A deck of emotions helps you explore your emotions, and really get in touch with and use a bigger emotional vocabulary. And if everyone had a bigger vocabulary, that would be more healthy. And when you actually say you feel hot or tired or angry, it's begin to, where do you feel that? Can you name that sensation? The more you have an understanding of that, and card decks can really help with that. Everyone should have an emotions card deck. Everyone should have a values deck, and everyone should have a strengths deck as well. So, these are different ways that, like, I call those the kind of like gateway decks, that entry level into decks, that you start with one deck and then you fall in love with it and you end up catching another one after that. So decks are just emotional. But we do, with Deckible, we do that all on the move. We can help people shift all these things while on the go, right? Because you never leave your phone behind. And often when you want that reading, when you've just had a bad moment, someone's just cut you up, someone canceled something on you, and you want to draw a card. Where's your card? It's at home. Where are you? In the car, on a bus, wherever. And you can draw that. So that's the wonderful thing about card decks, is you can make the most. Because if you didn't have your deck with you, you'll probably end up on Facebook or Instagram scrolling somewhere, and that's not productive. It's not quality self-care, reflective time, right? So that's what Deckable's all about. And I think anyone that does any kind of personal growth would recognize that change is both painful and challenging, and that card decks help, I think, in that. So well, how do they help? Well, by being helping you develop mindful practices, helping develop your daily practice, helping develop habits. And there are decks for all of this on Deckable amidst the 700 decks we have. And the other thing, we have a stunning amount of decks that are word decks. And every person loves a different word deck. And that's probably why there are so many. But picking your words wisely, and it's just three of the amazing decks on Deckable that have all got word prompts on it, or journal prompts. And it just helps to have, when someone says journal, you think, well, what am I going to journal about? When you draw a card, you've got an instant prompt to journal about. And when someone's not in a very good state of mind, randomization is really important. And Deckible does an amazing job with that. If you can't decide which deck to choose, let Deckible choose. Let the universe choose for you what deck you're going to choose today. You don't want to choose the cards, let Deckible choose. The universe will choose for you, right? So that's an important part of it. And we shuffle up the deck. And when you shuffle in Deckible, it's a real shuffle. You control the shuffle. So when you want to stop the shuffle, it'll stop eventually. But if you tap, you're influencing the shuffle if you stop it sooner. So that's an important part of it. And it's just beautiful art to have, just to inspire you, because when you're not feeling great, you have to be inspired to do that moment of pulling and drawing and do all of that stuff. And that's what Deckible makes fun and easy and inspiring. And I think one of the stunning things is, we know that experiences move people, but one of the things that research shows that experiences are more memorable. And what we recognize we've created with Deckible, we didn't realize at the beginning, but we've created a place for you to create experiences for your clients, right? So you're an experience designer when you come to Deckible to create a deck. Or if you're just enjoying Deckible, you're having experiences with the decks that you buy every day. And I talk about daily practice. Daily practice is the act of turning up and saying, I'm important, I'm going to look after myself, I'm going to do self-care every day. And everyone's self-care is different, right? But the problem with self-care is because we're human beings, we get bored. And so if we get bored, we break our daily habits and our practices, right? And that's the magic of Deckible, is that you draw a card and you keep going and drawing up cards every day. But if you get bored, you just get a new deck, because that mixes up your routine, right? But it keeps you going, keeps you building that habit. And there's a big shift that I see that's happening, is we're shifting from passive consuming to participating. The way everyone is taught today in school is they do stuff together. They don't do stuff alone, right? And they need to do things. If people are not doing things, they're not paying attention. And when you're pinching and zooming cards and journaling and participating, you're doing something. And that's what helps the growth process. That's what helps you move, right? And card decks and readers create experiences, right? But there's only one person that adds meaning to a reading, and that's you. Like the reader paints this amazing picture, tells you a story, and you put it on if you want to. You put on the bits of the story that fit you. Someone could say something to you in a reading, and you're going to take that away and say that again and again for life because you just felt that experience. It meant something to you, right? And so I think that's important to recognize that it's the recipient that adds the meaning, and that's the beautiful part, the beautiful thing of giving readings for people as well. And your experiences create longer memories, right? So that's, if you're consciously designing amazing experiences for people, they're going to remember you and come back to you for more. So that's important. Our vision for Deckible is really to put a deck in every pocket, because the number of people who use card decks today is actually in the minority. I mean, we all might not think that because we all are in that space. But if you wander down the high street and poll the average person, I think it's single digits percentages that really are into card decks. And we think the magic of card decks spans much broader than that. And when you make card decks more accessible, simpler, more fun, more affordable, and on the phone, we can actually put card decks in many more people's hands. And that's our idea, is to kind of blend in wellness, reflection, all that kind of good stuff, right? And we also definitely blend in the fusion of tarot and card sorting, which is more of a business kind of decision-making process. We do tarot spreads, and we also do card sorting. And there's no other app, there's no other app that's got a marketplace the size of Deckible, and there's no other app that does the full feature set of what we have with Deckible. So it's an amazing product, and the best thing I honestly can suggest is, go and find the decks you love and start using Deckible yourself. Use it daily and journal and reflect, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Deckible is far from done, as Rosie knows. We've come a long way. We're creating this product with you and for you. So, be a vocal member and speak up what you love and what you don't. And literally there is a deck for everything, right? Tarot and Oracle is just 1/7 of what we have on Deckible. We've got creativity and ideation, wellness and therapy, and every one of these is all about solving problems, right? So people use card decks in so many different ways to solve problems in their life. And it's worth understanding that, because if you're going to create a card deck, that Rosie will drive this into your head hard, which is good. It's like, who are you building it for? Why are you building it? What problem are you solving, right? Remember, we're in the moving business. We're going to move someone from here to here with your deck. So before the deck, they were this. After they had the deck and they used your process for a month, they were here. We moved them. You moved them. That's an amazing thing to be able to deliver. And that's what you're creating when you create a deck. But you're also doing that when you just buy some decks for yourself and turn up and create a habit of doing self-care, of journaling, of drawing. I always look, and when I show you a Deckible in a minute, there's a timeline, so we never forget a reading. And the key part of that is, when you're having a bad day, look back and see how much you have done, how many days in a row you have turned up, right? And that's the inspiring, motivating thing, is when you get that, let's turn up. Oh, look how far. I always think of it as the climbing Everest thing, and I'm having a bad day, but I've made it to base camp, and I look at base camp and I look to the summit and go, that's a long way, but look how far I've come, right? And that's the sort of psychology behind Deckible. There's a lot of psychology behind what we've designed and created, why it's engaging and why it's fun. And so, yeah, all the decks, every way you want to use a card deck in the app. And then we have a huge community of creators on the platform, and Deckible is in your pocket on your tablet, and not too far off will be on your desktop as well. We'll have a computer version, so then you'll be able to do readings with clients and stuff via Deckible. And you can do it right now, as Rosie said. You could just connect your phone, and Rosie held it up, but you could actually project via Zoom, via a call, so you can share your readings via the phone. So that's pretty powerful. And it's really time to show and tell. rather than just keep talking about this. So with Deckible, oh, I moved that way. You know, we didn't just make decks digital, because that in itself, yeah, has been done before. I actually think there's a lot of really bad tarot apps out there that probably do more of a disservice. They don't help the cause. Deckible is really like leading the way and doing it right. And we didn't just digitize a deck, we created a workflow. So when you're here, I'm on Deckible's homepage and I can draw a card. And here I am. I can just pinch and zoom the card. I can flip it over to the second side, to the third side. And there it is, right? And then I can even journal. So I can just type, or I
The
can even
third
talk.
side card, the third card side thing is just, I mean, think about that, guys. Like that is just freaking amazing.
One
You
thing
can't do that with printing, obviously.
yeah, exactly. But why is there a guidebook? Did anyone really want a guidebook? And the honest answer to that is no. Everyone just wanted the information on the card, but they ran out of space. So they created a guidebook. So something that was beautiful and simple, they suddenly made complex. And the guidebooks have got thicker and heavier and heavier, more competitive sport as who's got the biggest guidebook. And it's like 90% of people, 90% of the time, don't use the guidebook because it's effort to go and look up 6 cards or 5 cards in a 5-card reading. With Deckible, you don't have to look it up. You just flip. It's effortless. So more people can get to the meaning of your card. And as you saw before, you don't even have to read, right? You can just listen to the meaning of the card.
Yeah.
And, that way I'm actually getting to know or feel that I know the creator because I'm hearing the creator. Words communicate 7% of meaning. I think voice, that takes it up to about 30, and then the physical full makes up for the rest of it. So you're getting much more emotional connection when you do that. Shuffling is really important in Deckible, so you can just pick cards onto the canvas and I can then shuffle, and you can shuffle them blind like that, right? That's because you can do that with the card deck, but we can also flip it over and shuffle it this way too, right? And as soon as I tap stop, it changes the shuffle and I'm influencing that. And then I can drag a card onto the canvas. And we also have a quick draw option. So you can literally just let Deckible throw an extra card onto the canvas for you. And it's so tactile and fun to throw the cards on the canvas like that. And Deckible just lays them out for you however you want to do. You can flip them. It's just, you get lost in the cards, and that's a beautiful thing to do. Because you are, when you do meditation, people keep saying, return to the breath, right? If you're playing, and I use the word playing because it's true. When you're playing with cards, you are absolutely 100% in the moment with the meaning, with the experience. And that's important. Right? That's really adding value. And we also offer meditation. So you can choose a card and then say, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes on this card. And you can create a daily practice about meditating every day. And if you meditate every day for 30 days in a row, I guarantee, I don't know if you do it now, but if you achieve that, you'll look back and go, what did I get for 30 days of meditation? And you'll go, oh, well, and you'll start thinking of these little things, how life was different because you slowed down and took care. And that's putting yourself first is hard. And Deckible makes it easy because there's no excuse. You don't need a pen to journal. You haven't left your cards at home. You've got your prior journals and readings to look at. If you don't feel like doing a new reading, you can go back to an old one, right? You can do mixed deck. It's just, there's infinite variety. You've got no excuses. It's there for you.
And if I just want to add to it. So that's from your own personal perspective. But if you're a coach or you're a teacher or training someone, think about the things that you can offer them to do. Like, okay, here's your, you just made it so easy for them for the people that can't meditate. You just take 5 minutes every single day. So, from both sides, like look at this from both ends of it. It's beneficial.
It's almost kind of funny to think this is so way beyond a card deck at this point. We've gone, that's where we started. That's how we do it. But we've taken it so far beyond there. because it there's so much resistance.
Transformational teaching tool.
Yeah, right.
Is really
Because
what it is.
basically you can create a course, right? It is transformational. That's absolutely the word, right? Moving people is a transformation. Right? And that's a gift to be able to do that. Gift to be able to do it to yourself, and a gift to be able to do it for others. In case you don't know what a card sort is, a card sort is just a mechanism for choosing things that fit you and don't fit you, right? So this is a deck of, I'm going to show you now, is a deck of values. And I'm going to try and choose 3 of my top values. Because if you know what your values are, and you go to bed every night and say, did I live today in accordance with my values? And if you did, you'll sleep soundly. If you didn't live in accordance with your values, you'll be like, oh, I should have said, wish I had spoken up in that moment. I shouldn't have done that. And then that's a source of regret. But if you know your values, you can actually live much more in tune with that. And if you know other people's values, it's much easier to work with other people because you know what's important to them and you can speak to them according to their values. So anyway, here's a card sort. I'm just going through the deck and I can just throw the cards onto the canvas that I'm interested in. And the problem with a card sort is you always pick too many cards because everything seems appealing. But when you're doing a values card sort, it's important to get it down to 3 in the end because you can't be everything. And so here I'm moving them around and grouping the cards together. And I'm just, this is all just done on the phone, just touching. And now I can, I've grouped some cards together and said, those are, out of those 2, those are similar. So I'm going to throw those away. And I'm reducing it down. Now I've got it down to 4. And now I can pinch and zoom to prioritize them and say which sequence, which is more important to me, right? And that's so important. That's so expressive. It's hard to ask someone how they feel, but when you just pinch and zoom a card, that's emotional. And that's an achievement in this day and age. That's really important. Mixed deck readings. Here we go. So I'm picking a card from one deck. There we go. I go to add more cards and I pick new deck and I pick a different deck and I throw in a card from that deck. And I go back and I pick a third deck now.
And this is great for the Lenormand and the Tarot to do this with that as well. Right, Brenda? I think Brenda said she has 2-card combo spread for Lenormand practice. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle had a question too. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, how far back does the app store readings?
Oh, it's
Prior reading.
the elephant doesn't forget. It's all your readings. So yeah. Because that's what's important. It's like, why is Facebook more valuable to you now? Because you've got 10 years of history in there, 20 years of history. And that's what Deckible is about, because you'll start by going, oh, look how I felt back in, 2024.
That's really cool.
So that was a mixed deck reading. And people don't do mixed deck readings in real life because you have to unshuffle and unsort the cards and put them away afterwards. You don't have to do
that. Is very true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. I talked about climbing Everest before. This is oops, sorry.
And Michelle is saying that she's not good at journaling or reading her own handwriting. You can actually text it in, that's what I do. And that's just so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. And so the last piece here is the timeline. So this is showing me day by day, which all those are all the different readings I've done. You can do multiple readings on each day. So I can scroll up and down. I can jump from month to month. I can scroll left and right because I've got lots of readings on a day. And people do an incredible number of readings on Deckible. And I can jump into a reading and play with the cards, throw cards away. If I revisit a reading, I can change my mind as I've done that. We also support transparency, by the way. That deck is transparent. They're not square shapes, which is super fun. We flip. So there's flipping a card. And it sounds ridiculous, but it's so tactile and fun. We also have the guidebook integrated. So here's a deck with 3 sides, right? So you're never going to have to look up the meaning or anything because you can do that. And then this is amazing. So we can put video inside the card.
Hey, it's Lou Barton, and welcome back to Short Shots. This is your deck, your prompt for giving you over 30 prompts and ideas for creating YouTube Shorts and TikTok.
So there, you see when I'm playing that video, even then I can pinch and zoom. Like YouTube has been around for 20 years. It has zero tactility. Every video you've ever seen is rigid in a box. With Deckible, you pinch and zoom. It keeps you engaged as you're watching it. It's all about participation. With Deckible, you can choose your layout, right? So this is the tarot piece. So there's a zodiac spread, and then I can pick the cards. I can flip the cards over, so I can do it blind if you want, because everyone does their readings differently. You have them face down or face up. You can shuffle the deck. You can have Deckible pick the cards for you, right? And the cards fly into the spread there. And when the card is finished, when you've filled in the cards, you can reveal. And when you reveal, you can click on each card in turn in the spread to get the meaning of the card and the location in the spread, right? Those two things combine. And we have a layout designer tool. So you can literally design your own spreads in Deckible and put your own words and meanings and definitions. And literally you pinch and zoom and rotate the cards to design your spreads. And sometimes I think layout spread designing is like a competitive sport, but it's a fun sport to be in. And you can just, keep innovating. So that's cool. There we go. That's it.
Amazing. Amazing.
So I wasn't looking at the questions as we went in there, but
Yeah, I think we got most of the questions. How far does it go? But we've got someone here that's got 4 decks that wants to put them up on Deckible. I say, yeah, go for it.
cool.
Surely. I have created 4 inspiration card decks. I would love to move them to mobile. Yeah. And
Yeah.
to me too, it's like that third side and that audio and that video, there's so much you can do with the audio. You can add music, there's so much you could do with the video. Like that was one way. There's other ways. I put myself inside my card, speaking out of the card. Like you could take it really far.
And in the tarot space, it's really interesting because there's this really strong attachment to paper and energy, and people, it's all a belief because computers are made of the same molecules and energy that cards are, right? It's just a belief system.
Well, if you can do energy healing over the phone, then you can do hard work
people were equally resistant to Spotify. People were attached to their cassettes and their CDs and their albums and their vinyl. And I was a late adopter of Spotify. It was the radio station feature that got me. Any song I want, okay, I give in. I'm going to sign up now and use it because it's just too cool. And it's like with Deckible, well, okay, the guidebook's kind of cool. Oh, I can have video and audio, or I can journal. Oh, I can do all of these things, right?
I mean, I think that's really the important thing, though, Nick, is that you could do all these things in one place. Because if you create like a course for someone, you're taking someone through a guided thing. It's like, okay, get your journal and go watch this thing on YouTube and you're going all over the place. And then that's pretty distracting, right? Because then you're watching something else or you're answering Facebook things. But if you're just going to Deckible, like you're right there, you are doing the thing that you came there for. And that's really the magic.
The strongest piece of advice I can give you is, go to Deckible and if you use Deckible yourself, use it for your deck, but use someone else's decks as well. And use multiple decks and use it for a month. And if you don't love it, tell me what's wrong.
So 3 people are going to get Brenda's deck for free tonight. So you sign up for Deckible and you're going to get it. So we'll do that in a minute. We'll pick 3 people. But Michelle, what is the process to publish your deck?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, well, basically there's a video that steps you through how to upload your deck. So you watch the video and then literally you follow the steps in the video and you join Deckible and sign up, and then you follow the process, and then you once you've created your deck, there's a dynamic checklist as you build the deck, and the checklist gets longer and tells you all that, and every piece of the checklist, if there's a little fix it button, and it takes you to the place to go and fix the thing that's missing
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
great.
And then the checklist just shrinks down. And then when you're ready, you say, now, can I publish my deck? We review the deck for you and check everything's the way it should be. And then it gets approved. You set the price for the deck. We give you a landing page. We make collages for you. And if you've seen on Deckible, every deck has a little slider with all the images of the deck. Have you seen that? Shall I show you some of that?
Show that. So while he's looking that up and sharing that, who has an April, put in the chat if your birthday's in April and what date it is.
Shirley wants to know the cost.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, it's basically free to join Deckible. And yeah, it's free to join. And then basically you buy the decks, right? So every deck has got a different price because each creator can set the price for the deck. When
Yeah,
you
so
sell,
this is the beauty. You get to set the price of your deck from $9.99, which I would not recommend.
yeah, I
Up
think
to, and that's
it's a
gonna,
hidden
maybe
deal.
that's good, right? Up to $99.99.
Yeah. And so here you can see this slider. There's the deck box. You just give us the 2D artwork and we make you a 3D box. There's the back of the box. That little spread was laid out in one click, right? So we make it super, all of these are designed by the creator, but done by Deckible. So if I show you what that looks like, I just jump into this deck and I go into the collage maker.
Yeah, this is super great because they have this for social
You see-
media. You have the QR code for your website, the QR code to send out in an email.
So you see there, I've got it generated that for me in one click, right? I didn't have to do anything to do that. And if I want, that's a circle. I can have a double circle. There we go. I can have a fan.
Well, a pyramid is new. I didn't see that.
Oh, I haven't. No, it's because I haven't released that yet.
Okay. Well, see, there's always something new. I promise you, there's always something new and better. It's like, oh my God.
And we've got the heart. People love the heart.
All right. So the only birthday I think in April is Heather. So Miss Heather is going to get one of your decks, Brenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, and we basically get a lot of support to create all those images to help you sell your deck.
Yeah, that's
But
amazing.
it's both sides. It's as much about using Deckible and using the decks that exist as well as creating your own. You don't have to create a deck, but it is habit changing. It's fascinating within because we really only hit the paper resistance question in the tarot and oracle space. All the other people who create decks like, oh yeah, great, I have it on my phone. It's just but that's gonna 5 years from now, the world will be way more digital than it is because we're way more digital than we were 5 years ago and then 5 years before that, right? It's just we're so we so much use our phones and here's a productive and healthy use of our phone instead of kind of garbage use of mindless scrolling, right? So as I said, if you go to Deckible, find decks that speak to you, you buy a handful of decks, start using it every day. And then if you create your deck, you integrate your deck into the practice of using other people's decks, do mixed readings with those decks. Then when you're actually asking your customers to buy your deck, you're living and breathing and standing from a place of integrity. You're doing it yourself, right? You have complete expertise to tell them how to do it. And if you use Deckible all the time, you will design a better deck, right? Because you'll know, oh, I should put that on the third side. Oh, I should add audio here. Oh, I could use transparency like that. Oh, this should be a round deck. Or this should be a hexagonal deck, right? It's up to you. We give you so many creative tools to surprise and delight your customer.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the product and use it, it's harder to do that, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
everybody, it's also about like the strategy. Like it again, like Nick said before, you just have to know what you're offering and what the journey is and what the end result is. And
one of the
Freya, Freya's asking, is there an app or website where one should start creating a deck from? I'm in the beginning stages.
Yes.
So that would be me. I could totally, my courses and programs take you from the idea, from the strategy, from the idea all the way to the publishing. So, because yes, you could go to Canva and but you need the strategy. You have to have that strategy in your head and what's your deck doing? Who's it helping? What's it for? What's the point? You have to know all those things so that you could tell people about it and take them on that journey that, you want to take them on.
And Canva is amazing, but you have to be careful that
Yes.
anything made in Canva tends to look like it's made in Canva.
Yes.
So you need
have
guidance to
because there is also, like, you don't really talk about this much, and it's not that it's like juried where people are sitting around judging, but there's no crappy decks are allowed. Is that right, Nick? No crappy, like no throwing up a quote on Canva and then saying, oh, look, I have a deck, because no one wants that. There's really like your love, your intention, all of that, because these are powerful products, right? So, you want all of that behind it. You need to be really in love with your deck, and you need to know what it's doing. So, so you can't just throw stuff up.
And honestly, we've got to this point with Deckible. We've done a lot of work. We've worked with creators, et cetera, and really cared about the experience. And, every single one of you, I'm sure, knows other people that could or should be on Deckible. Because just, so spreading the word of mouth is much appreciated. That's because that's how we've got to this point. So what's the cost to create a deck usually? That's a hard question. Well, it depends if you're doing it all yourself or paying for it. It's up to you. Like, you can hire
if you're doing the art, if you're doing it yourself through a course, or if you're hiring an artist to do stuff, or if you're just winging it on your own. Like, so it depends on what, like, here's the thing. Sometimes and all of you, everyone knows this, we're all guilty of that. I mean, I've got a whole list of stuff that, I'm going to do that on my own. And okay, so you have to know yourself. Are you going to, like, do you need that, like, that connection in order to do it? And that guidance, the support, the accountability, like, okay, you're paying for something, you have skin in the game, right? So
I think it's inevitable. You will create a better product if you have help, right?
For sure.
Once you have made a couple of decks, you go, I don't need any more help from here. I've done it. You understand how to do it and where to get the help from other people, because help's necessary all the way, but you know the process and how to get people to validate where you are.
Right.
But if you don't have help, that you're kind of missing out.
Shirley, you pick Nick is very generous at the moment, probably not for that much longer, but you'd be grandmothered in. There's no cost to put a deck on Deckible. And when you sell a deck, you set the price. And when you sell a deck, Nick generously gives you 50%. So that's how that goes.
Can I ask a question?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask the question? So Deckible is not a place where you create a deck.
No.
To be accountable.
No.
It's the platform. It's the platform. It's like the Amazon. It's the Amazon.
Okay.
If you want to create a deck, you would work with someone like me, who's the creator courses that helps you. And so my courses range from $9.97 to $14.97, depending on which one you're doing.
Okay, so Deckible is just where you sell them.
Deckible is where you use them and sell them and play with them and all of that.
Deckible is the experience for the consumer. That's the key part. Right?
That was not clear, so thank you.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, because we assume that people know what you're talking about, and that's so good. Thank you for asking that. Anybody else have questions? Wait, hold on. Let's do one more deck. Whose birthday is in May? Put it in the chat.
I want to say too, Rosie, one thing about when, not when I took your class, but I was in like your Facebook group, and there was somebody who was making like an inspirational card deck, and um, you kind of coached them to make the art more grittier because it was like a, you know, a hard card, and it was such an amazing difference. They had like this fluffy picture, and then you were like really like be emotional, and it was a huge difference. So I think
Oh,
things like that,
uh,
and you know what I was talking about, and
yes,
just
I
like
know.
if,
Yes, that's yes, because this is
yeah,
the thing. We 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 need to be pushed off our safety net, right? Because so many people come in there, they're limited by like, well, someone told you weren't that artistic, but like I know that's crap. That's not true, right? And so you really get to stretch yourself, like you know, to see what you're capable of, and that's like that's part of the transformation, also, right? So, and then you become a serial creator like Brenda, which is has 6 decks now, right?
yeah,
Yeah. And now you'll get them all up on Deckible, and you could take all of them and put them all together, which is super cool. All right. So who's
yeah,
got
and
the May birthday? No May birthday?
I'm
Nobody?
gonna do on Deckable, no print.
Yeah. Yeah. June birthday? Anybody have a June birthday? No. July?
You're gonna pick everyone to be in the same
All
in the
right.
same.
Just put your birthday in there. Pick the next month. Oh, October and December. Wow. All right. So it looks like is that, am I saying that right? Sanal? Anyway, because
So
it's a Halloween deck, so you have to have that anyway.
Oh,
So all right. So October, and then October, I guess
you need one of those
December,
randomized.
and then I guess Freya. So Sanal and Freya. Yeah. All right. So good. So good. Now you're going to learn Lenormand. Who knew? This is an educational teaching tool. So I want you to think about that. And so my, for lack of a better word, expertise or just passion, like I love helping people create something that is transformational and is a teaching tool, because, this is the most amazing way to learn, one small step at a time, because people actually do it. So, they're not going to quit. They're not going to be that 94% that Nick was talking about that don't finish people's courses. Yeah.
Does anyone got any questions, thoughts,
Yeah.
resistances, objections? What's got anything inside your head? What's your inner voice saying right now?
Good question. Michelle's excited. Yes, Michelle. Michelle, you have a deck that's going up, right? You have one already. All right. Excellent.
she has
Awesome.
a great Lenormand deck that's also a teaching deck. If that's the one she's talking about, I think it is. So
Nice.
yeah, there she
Excellent.
is.
So Nick has agreed to, I don't think he did it yet, but there's going to be a category just for Lenormand decks. Just like there's one for Tarot, there's going to be one for Lenormand that Brenda requested. And we know there's a couple of there's a couple of already Lenormand decks up there. So, you can tell more of your friends about it and all of that. Who else?
Yeah.
What would be stopping you from, who's going to be creating a deck? Put that in the chat.
Also, what did you think anything was missing? What was the favorite thing that you saw what was the most inspiring thing to you that you saw today?
Yeah.
It's always curious. We think certain things are amazing, but it's fascinating to learn what other people,
Yeah. Michelle,
love.
what are you most excited about, Michelle? What did you love about it? You can unmute and say it because we're just a small.
Thank you. I'm excited about going digital. I want to make my deck. My deck is already a teaching deck, but the idea of having 3 sides and putting a voice to it, I'm like, I didn't even know it did that. Brenda, first of all, if anybody's done Brenda's yoga nidra, she has the most beautiful voice. So when I heard your voice with the card, I got so excited.
Yeah.
That's
It's
amazing.
magical. Yeah,
So,
it's magical. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Whole
know, I
different,
hope I
it's a
can
whole
create
different,
that too.
it's a whole
You can
different
do,
thing.
you
Yeah.
can do sound healing. She's a sound healer, so she could even, you could
Oh,
do a sound healing deck with
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
video.
my brain is already
oh my God,
going.
that would be
So
like amazing. I want that
what
one.
I
Yeah.
work with children with special needs too, so like we're always working on emotions. And when you started talking about a deck for emotions, a deck for, things,
Hmm.
I said, oh my God, so you've just given me a million ideas. So thank you so much, Nick. Thank you.
Pleasure, pleasure. Flashcarding is another great one, right? That we all use.
Yeah,
We all learn by flashcards. That's kind of when we forget about that. We did that. We use
that's
prompts with wedding. I did my daughter's wedding, but father the bride speech using Deckible.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's adorable.
That's a very good point, Heather. A space saver. When you have a small space, you can't have all the decks. Yeah, it's like it's the same thing, right? Eventually you get to the point where like no more books on the bookshelf. Like you're done with it. And so it's really the same thing. So that's cool. I
Yeah,
love it.
you can hide the size of your deck collection more easily on Deckable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
who is denied to a friend that they've recently bought another deck? Yeah, everyone that's oh no, I've had that deck for ages. That's not a new deck.
Maybe to my husband because he says, "Do you really need another one?" And I'm really proud of my collection. I love it. I don't know, but
now we
he
all
doesn't
know.
get it. You can never have two. It's like having too many cats. You never have
There
too
you go.
many.
Right.
But I was also saying, you know what, I have a lot of friends on the phone, so if we all make a deck, we can play with them and we can just, we could do a little community. It would be so fun.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention before was challenges. Card decks are amazing for challenges. So who's done a 30-day challenge, a 7-day challenge, right?
Oh,
You can use a deck to do that. And that's you run a challenge. Now, Rosie, the
With
decks that I
little,
created
with
with the video one,
yeah, with the
right?
video, this is
Yeah.
amazing. It's an example of
So
what can be done.
Lou made $5,000 from that deck in one
So that was just
group.
50 people signing up for $97 for a 30-day challenge where they would come into a Facebook group and practice whatever prompt was on that card. They would do a short, that's for short form videos. They would do a under 60-second video. And you came in, Brenda?
I did it. It was amazing. It was definitely worth
So
$97.
it was introducing everyone to his deck,
Right.
right? Teaching them how to use the deck. They got the deck for free in that $97. And yeah, and then we
Wow.
took them through the process. So that's really valuable information because lots of times we're thinking selling one deck to one person. Yeah, you can do that, but this is what I teach my students all the time. You are not creating a deck. You're creating an experience, but what's it looking like? Because that deck is leading them somewhere else. That deck is leading them to a workshop or a summit or a class of some kind or something. Because if you're teaching them something, they want the community up with it too. But this is the way to bring them in. So Freya, my class is a 3 months.
I will also just add that if I didn't take your class, I probably would have never blocked my calendar and actually
Right.
finished. Really.
And you're
So,
not alone with that because
yeah, sure.
that's just what we do. It's because like, oh no, I'll get, there's nobody, it's like, oh, all right, I'll do it tomorrow, which then, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, when you
Yeah.
have someone, and I say to people, like, no one gets out of my course without a card deck. That is my guarantee. And the reason that I say that is because, not because I can jump through the computer, but I do every single thing that I could possibly do to get you to the finish line, to get you to show up. And if you show up, you have your deck done. So, that's why I can say that with a clear conscience, that I give you everything, right? Every possibility, over deliver. And that's really what most people say, that I over deliver, which I probably should stop doing, but I do. But, I really want the decks out there, right? It doesn't really do any good to anyone if you don't get your deck out there, right? What you have to offer needs to be said, and like it's a gift, right? And if you're holding it back, like that's no one wins if we say, okay, I'll do it someday, you know, that list of stuff.
Oh, also, one of the things I was going to mention is I think when you create a deck on Deckible, you're actually potentially putting decks in the hands of people who are not deck users.
Yeah, that's so true too.
Sometimes it's worth remembering not to go complicated. I think there's been a trend to go more and more complicated, and keep it simple, because you're recognizing that if you grab a minute of everyone's life every day, that's a lot.
It's a
You know,
lot.
2 minutes, 5 minutes, and I think there's many more people that could be using card decks. And currently you need to know which store to go to, and there are weird stores in down dark alleys. You don't know if you don't know where you're going and which ones you pick out of 100 boxes in there, right? It's scary. And the next release of Deckible, which is out in the next week or two, will have trials. So people will be able to trial your deck for free for 3 days. So they don't have to get spooked by, which is the right deck for me? They can try.
I want to show you guys something that that people really like, because this is something that you can do, and it's just a cool freaking thing. Wait, hold on a minute. And I want you to, like, after you're done here, like, just really start thinking about, like, let your imagination go like pretty much insane. So this is just another example of a video. So you turn the card, and then
So
you can see I'm inside of my card, right?
Oh, we're not seeing you.
Oh, you can't see me?
Happens
There
is
you go. Okay.
You see me? So you see that I'm inside of my card deck with the card?
Everyone else's opinion.
So
So
cool.
how fun is that, right?
Deep
I'm
within
inside.
us, if we sit still long enough, if we be
All right.
quiet and we calm down,
Yeah.
So that's
and just
really
listen,
cool.
we're
So
going to hear
um
exactly.
it's just something different, right? It's just like that, like people will see that and be like, that's cool. She's inside of the deck and she's reading it, right? So there's just so many things you can do, and it just depends on like what you want the person to feel at the end. So yeah.
yeah, I think that's the point, is you are trying to make people feel something. So
You what?
you're designing an experience to make people feel something.
That's right. That's right. And so when you just like, it's a journey. So they start here and they feel like this by the time they're done in the 21 days and the 30 days and the whatever. But you are, in this really digital world and this course world, right? Everyone's creating a course on something, and like there's YouTube and podcasts and information, like, right? So it's overwhelming. Sometimes you're just like, okay, shut everything off, right? But like Nick said, 1 minute, you go pull a card, it just sets the rest of the day. There's one more I have to show, Nick, because I show this to everyone, and this is just like, this is the most simplest deck, and I just love this deck so much.
Action. Today might be your day to take action on a particular circumstance or idea. What action is most needed? Action.
That's it. Every time I pull one of those cards, though, I'm like, oh, because her voice, and then I just have to like think about that. Like that changes the direction of my day with that question in the morning. So talking about simplicity, that is like one of the simplest, and it's not easy to make a simple deck, right? Creating a simple deck requires you to, really focus. So yeah.
Well, I think you need to communicate what that does feel like. We talk about that dealing with children and creating decks for children. It's like you've got to know your audience and create something that is inspiring to them.
Yeah.
And not often we design for ourselves, and that's okay. Some people who are like you can buy your deck, but if you actually know who your if you're designing for your customer and it's not you, having that mindset is important. And like designing and naming it correctly, and having the box cover is important.
Yeah, there's
people-
when you create something that you know is going to be living in the world and other people have it, you want to fall in love with what you're doing, and you want to be so in love with it that you're proud to share it / sell it. Because if you don't like it, you're not going to tell anyone about it. So you have to get past all that in your brain, and also really being so in love and know that you put all that you had into this product. And that's the difference. Like, that's creating a real product when you put everything into it.
And you don't need to print these decks, by the way. You can. We're not stopping you. We're not discouraging you from doing that.
Well,
thing
and the
about-
other beautiful thing that you do, which is very generous, is that there's a button there on Deckible that will say purchase the physical deck. And so if you do have the physical version, like Brenda, people can go and they could get both. Yeah, so there are so many. This is only touching the surface of what can be done, and also the strategy around your business, because what you put in the thank you, Deckible sends a thank you note when someone buys your deck. So like, there's like golden opportunity there to say something or give something or create some kind of relationship with the people that you are, that just bought your deck, where sometimes you don't know who bought your deck. If like your deck is in a store, you don't know. So this is like a great opportunity to link them back to something else that you're gifting to them.
And the cool thing is that you can make several decks, right? And you don't know which deck is going to be your best seller.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get better at the process of creating decks. Your first deck won't be your best work, probably. Just, there's a skill and art to it, and you'll appreciate it. But just if you don't start, you won't get to that point, right? So
Right.
That's the nice thing about decks, is they're completable projects.
Oh yeah.
There's something very satisfying about getting to completion.
Yeah, and it also opens up so many more doors that you don't even think about, because you have a product. So it makes you an expert. And not only that, but because by creating the deck, this happens all the time. People get crystal clear on what they're actually doing in their business, in their teaching, in all the stuff. Like, because you have to refine it so small, like you get clear. This isn't important. That's not important. This is what's really important. And then from that, you expand back out. So that's, super. Yeah. I mean, there's so many, it's just so many things. So good. So any other questions? And then we'll kind of wrap up. Michelle, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like either the link to your website or your schedules, but you said your class is in 3 months. Is that what you said?
My class, it lasts 3 months.
Last 3 months.
My cohort is starting on May 1st. And this is the course. This is a little different than the one that Brenda took. This one is a live. It's not a course. It's a program. It's 3 months and it's live. We meet live just about every week. And so you have to get done. You're going to get
Right.
all of it together, and the community, everyone, it's that community part that like that's like, I can't even tell you the amazing stuff that happens from that. So that starts May 1st. I can, if you're interested, I'm going to send out the replay tomorrow, but if you're interested in that, let me just put my email here. Whoever wants to just email me, you're interested. And then I can explain how all of that works. And
Okay. Thank you.
sure. Yeah, it just so happens that is starting. And I think this might be the last time I do it this way, because as I'm going along, I'm creating like the course. But I just I just did one this way and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it one more time because it's cool. It's a cool experience.
Thank you. Okay.
Awesome. Anybody else? Freya, you looking like you're good? Everybody good?
This was great. Thank you so much. I'm
Welcome.
really excited about this.
Excellent. Awesome.
And like I said, if anybody wants to know my experience with Rosie's class, making a deck, putting it on Deckible, just reach out to me. I did this because I enjoyed it so much, and that's my only motivation. I just wanted to share it, and I would love to see everybody get a deck out into the world. It was very cathartic for me. So, and just so fun and creative, opening so many possibilities.
Okay. Amazing. All right.
Well, thanks,
Nick,
everyone.
thank you so much for what time is it over there, Nick?
2:12 a.m.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God, go to
goodness.
bed. Okay. Good night. Oh my God, that's awful.
I have to. I have a flight tomorrow, so I have to get up at 5.
Oh,
Oh my
geez. All right.
goodness.
Well,
Go
thank
take
you
a
so
nap.
much, Nick. Okay.
Thank you for doing this,
Everybody.
really.
Thank you.
Okay. I look for the email because I'll send out the replay and a couple of other links and things like that. Okay, guys?
Yeah, and I'll send out everybody who won, I'll send them their decks,
Yeah.
digital link. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Thank you so much,
you.
Brenda. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.